Welcome to the Freaky Fauna Files podcast. This is part 2 of the Everglades series, where I'm going to be talking about the Florida manatee or the sea cow. Whoop, whoop. We're just going to go ahead and dive right into it. So the scientific name is Trichechus manatees latirostris.
Wow.
Yeah, that three. I just had to pronounce 3 of those.
That was good.
Yeah, I did my best. It is a subspecies of the West Indian manatee, and manatees are, in fact, marine mammals, and they're not fish, despite spending the entirety of their lives in the water. So we got to think like dolphins and whales when we're thinking manatees, not like fish and sharks.
Does narwhal fit in there?
Narwhal, yes. Narwhal is a whale. Yeah. The closest relative for a manatee is going to be... Try to guess.
Oh, God. The dugong?
Well, yes. Kind of. They're in the same... They're, like, really related. I'm talking about, like, what land animal do you think?
Oh.
Like, evolutionary-wise...
Oh, God.
What animal do you think?
Logic is going to tell me to pick the hippo?
That's pretty close. I would think the hippo, too, actually. But it's the elephant. It's the elephant. That's the closest relative.
So it really is...
Yeah. Yeah, other than the dugongs, but the dugongs or whatever in the same...
Yeah, that's...
Like, family type deal.
An elephant, really?
An elephant.
What happened to their nose? I mean, they still kind of... Actually, no, I so see it. It's basically the tip of an elephant's trunk, just right here on his
little nostrils. Yeah. And we'll get into what that trunk-like thing is, if it's a trunk at all. Add a little bit of spice. For mythology and lore, I want to refer back to our previous episode. The audience asks number 1. We actually had a question regarding the theory behind mermaids, right? And the answer to this question was that a lot of the belief behind mermaids comes from sightings of manatees and dugongs standing up in the water. Remember, because Christopher Columbus wrote down in his journal that they had like masculine features and stuff like that.
Like, they're that like ain't cute.
They're like, damn,
like
they
that?
Ugly.
You're into that?
So that's a little bit of their lore. So their voluptuous figures ultimately led to Ariel. That's wild to think about at the end of the day. Not only are they beautiful and majestic mermaids, they are also actually a symbol of peace, tranquility, and a reminder to slow the fuck down.
I kind of like that.
I kind of like it too. When I read that, I was like, I'm at peace. Like, we all need a manatee.
Okay.
If you feel that manatees are your spirit animals,
because
that is the list, yes, then it likely means that you are highly intuitive and that you prioritize meaningful experiences and that you need to slow the fuck down. That's what it all means. And then for the last little touch of lore, we have that in West African folklore, manatees were actually considered sacred and at one point thought to be humans. Yeah, so like in a previous life, they were humans.
SpongeBob episode where Squidward gets like wrapped up in concrete and he has that little sprout on top of his head. Please tell me you know what I'm talking about.
I think I can picture it, but why the fuck does it relate to what we're talking about?
Because it looks like a sea cow, and you said that they were often just regarded as humans.
Yeah.
So I'm like...
Yeah, you're like Squidward?
Yeah, or that horror movie, A Walrus. Have you seen that?
Tusk.
Yeah. That is the most disturbing concept. That's worse than Human Centipede in my book.
I agree with you on that
Way
one.
Worse.
Except for Human Centipede 2, the one where the guy has like mental problems and isn't a trained doctor. No, that one's not good.
I don't know if I've seen the second one.
No, you don't want to. There's 3 ultimately in the series of Human Centipede. But Tusk, yeah. It has Justin Long in it. Who paid him to be in that movie? Like, he's a good actor. Why did he be okay with being turned into
Tusk is a psychological work of art. It would be an honor.
I just hate the ending, and I won't get into it because I want my listeners to go and watch it, because I feel like if you're listening to this podcast, you would also probably really like Tusk. But yeah, so anyways, my new goal is to be reincarnated as a manatee. I feel like that's my next goal.
You've chosen your spirit animal.
Yeah, catch me in the next life. I've chosen like 4 spirit animals already at this point. I feel like the podcast is going to make me find more. I know I'm not going to be a pelican though. No, that's if you're a pelican,
a brown pelican.
Reevaluate. Okay, so manatees, they can be found in rivers, bays, canals, estuaries, and coastal areas. In general, manatees are found in waters from the Bahamas to Brazil.
I want to be a sea cow in the Bahamas.
I know, imagine the luxury, dude.
Wow.
But the Florida manatee, which is the one that we were talking about, is found primarily in the United States, with certain individuals found down in Brazil. So just imagine being a Florida manatee and it's just like, I want to retire in Brazil. And you just move down there. You like lay all the pups and you're like, I'm done.
I'm an empty nester.
I am an empty nester.
I'm going.
They buy property down in Brazil.
South America.
Yes. So you can also obviously find them in the Everglades. That's how they came to be on this podcast.
Welcome.
They're marine mammals, and they're quite goofy to look at, but incredibly freaking cute. Kind of like in the way a French bulldog or just a normal bulldog is cute, or like maybe like a cow is cute.
Just fat and squishy.
Yeah, there needs to be like a cute index factor, and the squishy face needs to be added into there. They can grow up to about 15 feet long or 4.5 meters. So that's what? About a single pickup truck? 15 feet? Yeah, I would say so. Their weight, they come in at a whopping 900 to 1,200 pounds.
Damn.
So that's 400 to 550 kilograms. Even the babies, when they come out, 66 pounds.
Wow.
We struggle with 8. 66 pounds? At birth, I could not.
Yikes.
Yeah. As mentioned, they're incredibly bulbous with a
bulbous.
Bulbous. Maybe not mentioned, but alluded to. They are quite bulbous with a paddle-shaped tail.
Huh.
And this tail is actually a differentiating trait between the dugongs and the manatees.
Oh.
Because the dugongs have fluked tails and not a paddle-shaped.
What the fluked tail?
Think a whale.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Does that help put it in perspective? Yeah. So think paddle versus fluke.
Okay.
And that's the difference between the two. There are a few others, but that's a big one that you can just easily look at and tell. Their faces, manatees' faces, they have tiny, widely spaced eyes.
Okay, go back to audience asks.
Yes.
Why do animals have widely spaced eyes?
Do, 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 do. Have you thought of an answer? Do, do, do.
It's because they're prey, and they got a lot to look out for.
They do.
Oh no, who be eating the sea cows?
They can't be forward looking all the time. They got to be looking around. They have internal ears, similar to a lot of marine mammals. And then they have a large, flexible lip that they are able to use to gather food and socialize. So that thing
I hate that
you see, it's kind of like a trunk, is actually a big lip.
Okay.
Yes, and we'll get into the lip, I promise.
In
fact, right now, we'll get into it right now. The lip is prehensile, meaning that it has been adapted for grasping or holding, like a giraffe's tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can use their tongues to pull leaves off of trees. Same thing for the manatee with theirs, with their lip. They have 7 muscles in the lips alone, and the upper lip pad is split in half into a left and a right side. And these left and right sides are actually able to move independently.
No.
Just like, oh gosh.
I don't like that.
But it's all to make it easier for them to grasp their food and to dig for what they need to eat. So, but it's weird. Could you imagine your top lip just being split?
No.
Why would you even need that? It's like the people who split their tongues. Like, I wonder if there's actually like added benefit to like if you're eating food. I know there's some benefit. 4 teeth. Manatees have no incisors or canines, but they do have a set of 6 cheek teeth.
Cheek teeth?
Cheek teeth, yes. And these cheek teeth are repeatedly replaced throughout their lives, like sharks and elephants. Yes.
Are they exactly what they sound like?
Cheek
teeth? I just hate that.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's not for chewing meat, because ultimately they are herbivores, and we'll talk about that in just a second with their feeding habits. Digging deeper into their anatomy, though, for a second, the manatee has a very simple stomach and a very large cecum, which is very similar to land mammals like cows, horses, etc., that eat primarily vegetation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because our normal stomachs, like, we can't digest everything, every part of a plant, but with the cecum, you're able to. The wild thing about the manatee is that their intestines are a crazy 45 meters long, which is unusual for their size. And I'm sure you're sitting there listening to this podcast being like, chicken, what does a 45 meter long intestine look like? What does that mean? How do I know that's unusual? Well, happy to answer your question. To put it in perspective, elephants, their intestines are 35 meters long.
Wow.
So,
what does one need 45 for all that plant matter?
All that material. All that material. And I do want to point out, too, at this moment that their gigantic size, I make fun of them because they're fat and bulbous, but they're actually not fat. And that is actually not blubber. They are so big because of their stomach and their intestines.
Wow.
To house it. Yeah. So they actually are not as toasty as one would think. In fact, at least 246 manatees died in Florida due to cold stress.
Oh, no!
From an unusually cold Florida winter. Yeah, so these babies might as well be cold-blooded because they have nothing in their bodies really keeping them warm.
Wow, so they're thin-skinned, big-bellied?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, it's the opposite of what is it? Not thick bones. I've got big bones, yeah.
Big bone.
I've got big intestines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As I've alluded to, they are herbivores. They feed off of aquatic vegetation like seagrass, water lettuce, mangrove leaves, and plenty of others. In fact, there's like 60 different plant varieties that they eat.
What a good diet.
I know. I wish I was that good.
Just
I have like 3
munching.
greens. I have 3 greens, and one of them isn't even a vegetable.
What is it?
I think a cucumber.
Oh.
They're technically fruit, right? Because of the seeds.
I'm counting it as a vegetable.
I count it as green, too. I go based off of color, not that seed rule. Whenever they are eating, they use their flippers to walk along the seabed, which is really cute, and dig up any plants or roots. The flippers then coax this food towards the manatee's large prehensile lips, and then they will be able to eat their vegetation. Each day, they eat about 10 to 15% of their body weight. As a reminder, they weigh 900 to 1,200 pounds. They are eating 10 to 15% of that. That is at a minimum 90 pounds.
A day?
Of veggies.
How do they not just clear the ocean?
Well,
one where would are we think. The Florida Everglades? Well, okay, there's a lot of plant matter, but
there's a ton. That's still a lot.
A day?
Yeah, that's still a ton, yeah. But in order to eat this amount, they have to be foraging and grazing for up to 7 hours.
Exhausting.
That's an insane amount of time.
7 hours of eating?
I hate spending the 30 minutes to cook and then taking 5 minutes to eat that. Like, if I could just not, it'd be easy. Mm-hmm. To spend 7 hours each day of your life foraging and munching for food? Nah. It's an insane amount. And despite all this time munching, it actually takes them still a week to pass their food through the system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's not like it's just funneling through it. It's like it almost takes a week for it to get through their 45-meter long intestines.
Ugh.
That's crazy. No wonder they have to eat so much. I bet if they processed it better, they wouldn't have to eat up so much. Who knows? So they eat grass and green things, and really nothing eats them. They have almost no predators. Occasionally, whenever they are young, the 66-pound baby, ridiculous, will be preyed upon by alligators. But as an adult, they have no natural predators. In fact, their only predators is
disease.
Us.
Oh.
Disease would be a good one too. I guess kind of disease.
But us is the answer?
It's us is the answer, and we will talk about that in a little bit.
Does the sea cow make it to the danger zone?
It does, but not for the reasons we want.
Womp,
womp, womp. But stay tuned. So my manatees, they can live up to 50 to 60 years old, so they're pretty long living, which makes sense because, again, they're mammals. Other than eating, they don't do much other than spend about 50% of their day sleeping. So it's eating or sleeping, and they are quite solitary animals. So you're not going to see them often with the whole group unless it's like a family, like a mom and a pup you'll see. And occasionally during the breeding season, you'll see all three together. But most of the time, they're not like in pods, like you'll see dolphins. Or anything like that. They're just going to be one or two, or occasionally they'll aggregate. They are marine mammals, so they do have to breathe. So how can they breathe whenever they spend 50% of the day sleeping? They do this by surfacing at 3 to 5 minute intervals, which I'd be pissed. If I was sleeping and I had to wake up every 3 to 5 minutes to walk somewhere and breathe, The longest amount of time is up to 20 minutes. So they can get a good nap in before having to go up and get air. And a lot of the reason why they're able to go up to 20 minutes versus like humans, our maximum is 3 unless we're like training like free divers and stuff like that. Or the difference comes down to what happens when we actually take a breath. When manatees take a breath, they are actually replacing 90% of the air in their lungs.
They're taking a big gulp.
When humans take a breath, we're replacing about 10%.
Oh, wow.
Which means we still have a whole bunch of carbon dioxide and stuff left in our bodies and all that good jazz. So that's part of the reason why they are able to stay down for that long is because they replace a lot more and they get fresh air every time they take a breath.
Wow.
Could not be me.
No.
I wish that would be beautiful. They breed once every 2 years, and only a singular calf is born after about 12 months. So they put a lot of time and energy into this calf.
Whole year to cook.
And there is a lot of parental care afterwards.
Good.
Just because there is only one calf. They swim at 3 to 5 miles per hour, which is not slow. Remember, the fastest human ever clocked in about 5 miles per hour.
Really?
Remember? And that's about how fast a hippo can swim.
5 miles an hour?
About 5 miles per hour. That's fast in the water.
Mm.
That's a fast...
And these guys are how much?
5 miles, 3 to 5 miles per hour.
Okay, so they can...
actually move.
Okay.
They can actually move. And amazingly, they have been known to hit up to 20 miles per hour in a short burst.
No.
Yeah.
What?
20 miles per hour. That's how fast a hippo ran on land.
Dang.
20 miles per hour?
Boats?
That's crazy. That's like a fast scooter. That is a fast scooter. For communication, the manatees are able to communicate using a wide range of sounds. Again, just like dolphins and all that. Most of the communication is actually done between the mom and the calf. Just familial, right? Because if they're solitary, there's not a lot of need other than if you want to find a mate or trying to talk to your baby. Finally, before I dig into the danger zone, I have special characteristics, which for this, I've only got really a couple. First one is that manatees are incredibly dumb looking, but they are actually incredibly intelligent. They are able to discriminate between different things, learn tasks.
That's really the qualification.
This is an animal. This is an animal. All right. Egg. Cool it. This is an animal. All right, think dog, think fish.
I guess.
Okay. They're able to learn tasks and they have a good long-term memory. So everyone thinks of dolphins.
What's long-term, though?
Well, they can live to 50 to 60 years. Okay. I'm thinking elephant.
Elephant intelligence?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's what research is showing. Everyone thinks of dolphins and their intelligence, but apparently manatees are coming in to be the sneaky smart ones as well. I just think it's hilarious because we used to think they're all just big dumb boys due to their smooth brains.
Smooth brains.
They actually have smooth brains. They actually have
ridges or lumps, valleys or bumps.
None of them. Yeah, they have smooth brains and
all thoughts slide right off.
They have the smallest ratio between like brain size and body size.
Aww.
So like for how big they are, they have the smallest.
Baby brain.
So we thought they were dumb, but no, they're actually not too dumb, which is good. And then my final thing before I move on is going to be that Mr. Wardle in the Animal Crossing New Horizons, if you buy that expansion pack where you have to like go to work and you're decorating the new like that. Islands
that's
and
stuff.
Oh yeah,
what's it called?
Well, no, Wardle is one of the characters, one of the NPCs, and he's a manatee.
Oh.
Yeah, and you can buy furniture from him. Yeah. And sometimes he has really cool furniture.
That is cool.
So anyways, keep an eye out for Wardle, and now you know that Wardle is a manatee. Even though I actually think Animal Crossing tells you that he's a manatee, which is kind of cool.
Don't they always tell you what kind of animal? No. Yeah, no.
No, I feel like you don't know what Tom Nook is. Is he a raccoon?
Versus what?
I don't know. Squirrel?
No.
What is he?
He's a raccoon.
Is he?
They all are.
Really?
Well, him. Yeah.
You never know. Maybe it's a lemur.
I guess.
I digress. Welcome to Okay.
I'm so glad our sea cows made it to the danger zone.
They did. They did not make it to the danger zone for the same reason that other creatures have made it to the danger zone. Because manatees are in the danger zone. Because we, unfortunately, are the danger to them.
Are we the problem?
We're the problem. So, the manatees, specifically the Florida manatee, is threatened under the Endangered Species Act and designated as depleted under the Marine Mammal Protection Act. It is not just the Florida manatee, but actually all 3 species of manatee that are listed by the World Conservation Union as vulnerable to extinction.
Oh no!
Could you imagine how sad that would be?
That would be so sad.
In 2017, though, the West Indian manatee status was demoted to only threatened by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. So there is some hope here and there when it comes to it. A huge cause of their decline has been to, sadly, human-related issues because, as mentioned a second ago, they have no natural predators as adults. Between ship strikes, habitat destruction, and random human construction objects, or human gates, or human dams, the Florida manatee has been fighting an uphill man-made battle. I know. That was
so
a
dramatic.
Good one. That was a good one. I know. Because manatees do not move fast, especially relative to boats, they are often caught in collisions.
Don't say that.
Yes, they're caught in their propellers, and this results in maiming, disfigurement, and often death.
That is not allowed.
I know. There have been some instances of manatees just being cut in half.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so watch your propellers, please. Not only is it the propellers themselves that are causing an issue, but marine vessels are continuously emitting a very low frequency, and manatees hear on a very high frequency.
They can't even hear them coming.
They can't even hear them coming. So they can't hear them coming, and they move too slow to get out of the way by the time that they feel the water moving. And so they just are just like rocks that just get hit, essentially. And unfortunately, for a lot of the boaters, they do just look like rocks in the water, right? Unless you're looking closely or until you get close enough. And by then, it's tough. So anytime you see a spiral marking or a scarring on a manatee, that is often the cause. It is not some crazy sea monster. It is not the orca and their 19,000 fucking PSI bite.
That is awful.
But it's boats. About a quarter of the annual manatee deaths in Florida are caused by these collisions. And back in 2009, out of the 429 manatees recorded dead, 97 of them were due to commercial or recreational vessels.
No.
So that's pretty significant. That's about a quarter, a little bit under. Regarding the habitat destruction, not only is it like the extreme temperatures that are coming into play, but it also has to do with seagrass beds. So these propellers are also chopping up seagrass beds, and that is one of the main sources of food for our manatees. And with seagrass beds, the way that they've evolved, the way that they are, is once a piece is cut out of it, that piece doesn't just grow back like grass. Like it's dead, it's gone. Like it won't grow back unless there is some type of intervention going into play to replant seagrass. So a lot of manatees are actually starving to death because of a lack of food.
Aww.
So they're getting cut by boats. They're starving to death. And then the last factor I'm actually going to talk about before I start tying it all up is going to be the water quality in general. And this is kind of throwing it back to last episode where we were talking about bioluminescence, and I spoke a little bit on the dangers of red tide. Yeah. And even though it's beautiful at night, with blue tide, there are some dangers. Specifically, some of the dinoflagellates will produce a brevetoxin that messes with the central nervous system of animals, including the marine mammals.
Aww.
So whenever all of our garbage and our fertilizer-filled runoff goes into the water, it can lead to these harmful blooms. And those blooms can result in, a lot of the cases, very high mortality rates amongst the manatees.
Sad.
Yeah, so it is very sad, right? It's humbling to think about. And I wanted to mix it up with this danger zone because, again, in a lot of the cases, we are more dangerous to animals than they are to us. And I'm not trying to get political and be like, oh, environment, all this stuff. But these are proven factors that we are the main cause of deaths for these manatees. And it's very sad. However, once we have the awareness of the damage that we are causing, we can actually start taking steps to repair it. So I want anybody who's listening to look at manatees, love all animals.
Live, laugh, love.
And just leave them alone. And if you are a boater, just maybe don't go close to the rock because it might not be a rock. And that's about all I have for the beautiful sea cow.
That was sad.
But they're lovely.
On how amazing they are.
You can actually, if you would like to go and swim with manatees, you can. There are a lot of experiences in Florida, in springs and stuff, where you can actually have the opportunity to go and snorkel with these manatees. The one sad thing is that you cannot touch these manatees. It is actually a felony to touch a manatee. So a manatee can literally come up and be nuzzling up against you, and you cannot touch it. If you put your hand on a manatee, that is a felony.
Wow.
Yeah, but you can still go swim with them, and they're very cutesy. And I used to feed them when I lived in Florida. Feed them lily pads.
Aww.
Yeah, I think they're very awesome. I was very happy to cover them, and I hope that you guys enjoyed learning about them in this short mini-series. As we wrap up this episode of the Freaky Fauna Files podcast, we want to thank all of our listeners for joining us today. From laser gun gators to bulbous sea cows, we hope that you've enjoyed exploring the Florida Everglades with us.
The adventure does not have to stop here. The next episode is going to be an audience asks. So send us your questions at info@freakyfaunafiles.com. or you can submit it on our website.
And send us those questions. If you have those burning curiosities in your head, send them to us and we will do our best to answer them. Until next time, keep your eyes peeled for the unexpected, and may your curiosity continue to lead you on extraordinary journeys. We hope y'all survive the holidays, and we'll see you in the new year. Stay freaky.